As the sun sets and as the Garu, haha, you did not get me this time, Garu. Now watch, I turn this way and they're like right on top of me. All right, we are back in Kenshi with Quill and Temperance and their team. In the last episode, these guys made their way out to the northeastern area of the Hook with the intent of fully scouting this region before they decide whatever the next leg of their journey might be. And so for today's episode, we've got some scouting in order. These guys are currently, let's do this. Let's take a look at the map and we are going to make a real plan. These guys have spent the night in the way station bar just outside of Clownsteady in the intervening time since the last episode. It's 6 in the morning. They're just about ready to head out. I think overall we're going to see if we can accomplish scouting this little peninsula today and quite possibly scouting all of this. Very interested to just take a walk over here. It's been very fascinating playing without a map marker or the ability to click on a map. As I've mentioned a couple of times in this series, you uncover something pops up as you get close to it and you get the little marker on the map, and so you just click on it. You right-click on it, and they run over to whatever the thing is, and you never think about looking anywhere else. And I don't think I've ever walked on this little strip of land, and I'm very curious to see what that actually looks like. But in either case, they're going to do some scouting, so we know what's out here. As I've mentioned before, I certainly know some things that are out here. There's a manhunter's base out here for sure, and they probably know that as well. I mean, we hear people sharing various stories of adventures and rumors as they sit in a bar every time you come into town anyway. So they probably have some idea that there's things like manhunters and slavers out here, but they don't have a really good sense of exactly where that stuff is. So that's another reason why we're going to be doing this scouting as well. But it also means we're going to need to be a little bit careful because these guys are certainly not a force to be reckoned with. So we want to make sure we don't get mistaken for slaves as we are doing our adventuring. So like I said, we are currently at this way station bar. I think what we're going to do, I think what makes the most sense, because we'll be able to see the river from here, we're going to come down along this river and try to run the entire perimeter of this little peninsula here and make our way back to the way station before nightfall. I'm going to guess that's going to take until evening or night. And if it's a little earlier than night, we might run out and spend the night in Clownsteady because we can do some shopping out there as well. And then we'll do the same thing again. We'll try to run the perimeter, run around this way. If we have to readjust our plans depending on what we find, we can do that, but I think that's the plan. And like I said, these guys are ready to go. Let's get them all up. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Perfect time to head out. We've got food. We've got supplies. It's a little dark, but that's okay. Ooh, someone is yelling fight. Is there a fight outside? I think it's actually been a little while since I played. I was busy last week and did not get a chance to record an episode. And I think when we came in here, oh boy, there are bodies on the floor. United Cities with a bounty in the United Cities. Okay. All right. We're not going to get caught up in this. Yeah, we were coming in and there were rebel farmers getting attacked. We're gonna leave this alone. Oh, interesting. United Cities with $1,000 bounty in the United Cities. I love the chaos that can unfold in this game. Oh, is he dead? He's dead. Gone forever. Rip. Okay. This one's in a recovery coma with $1,000 bounty in the United Cities, and they're a United Cities citizen. They look like United Cities guards. They look very guard-like. They don't look very citizen-like. Let's go take a look over here. We're starting to run all over the place. More United Cities with bounties in the United Cities, and rebel farmers that are dead with no bounties. Hey, break it up, says a mercenary. All right, we're going to leave these rebel farmers. I'm almost contemplating stripping them for gear and selling their gear in here. I feel like we're kind of doing them a favor. Are you guys are still fighting? All right, let's back up. We're not getting involved in this. Not that we would anyway. They're not going to do anything I don't make them do. We're just going to let this play out for a second. Who is it that they're fighting? Tech hunters. United Cities fighting tech hunters. I guess this is a tech hunter. This is a tech... Yeah, it's a tech hunter way station. All right, that's very interesting. How much is this house here? $4,800? Karthikeyan is completely unbothered by any of this. He's just like, the wind feels nice. All right. It looks like it might have calmed down. I was contemplating stripping these rebel farmers for their gear and selling it, since they've been kind of crappy to us, especially the dead ones, but I think I'm more keen on... Ooh, not you, Karthikeyan. I think I'm more keen on scouting. If there's still a mess happening here when we get back, so be it. We're certainly not stripping United Cities. We're not looking to make enemies here. It's not like we're looking to ally with the United Cities, but we're certainly not looking to make enemies as we are finding our footing. There's an outlaw. Let's go take a look at that. Is this outlaw dead? This outlaw is a slave. Belongs to Neko. Yeah, we're not going to get involved in this. I'm sure Hamut would very much like to help these guys out, but I feel like that's probably going to be a crime, unlocking this person's shackles right here. We're not going to attempt to kidnap them. We've got our own business. We're going to keep our nose clean. We're going to tell Hamut, like, listen, I know you want to help. We're going to help. But you got to understand, we're not really strong enough. It's as good as suicide, getting ourselves in trouble here. We're going to head down. I believe the river should be right here. We're going to just go head down, put eyes on the river. We're going to follow it. And we're going to try to do as much good as we can away from civilization. Which, you know, is probably where people need it most. If they're this close to civilization and they've been enslaved, they're probably going to be taken to a place where their wounds will be treated, and even though they'll be close to starving, they'll be fed. But the slaves and escaped slaves that are out in the wild are probably the ones that are in the most need. There's slave traders over there who will probably leave us alone, but we'll follow a little away from the river. We can see the river right there. These guys also probably want to keep their eyes open for opportunistic hunting. I would imagine is probably next on their minds. Knowing that they've been running into more and more dangerous things and some alarming surprises here and there. Alright, let's do this. The river is here. And we might be looking at this little rise. No, I think we're looking at this rise right here. Let's get zoomed in a little closer. There's a little rise right here. Let's get onto that rise and see how far we can see. We just want to physically put eyes on everything. Since I'm not playing with a map and a map marker, I am finding it not only fun, but beneficial. And immersive and engrossing, for sure. And that kind of rolls in with the fun, for sure. But physically visiting places, really actually scouting. I am enjoying it. So we're going to do that here. Doesn't mean we actually have to walk to the very end of the coast, but we at least want to get a sight line down to the edge of the coast. And like I said, these guys probably do know of a rumor of there being a manhunter's base out here somewhere, so we have to be careful. We're just going to stop right here, make sure nothing's moving around near us. I don't see anything moving. We'll move forward a little bit. Yeah, we got to be careful because there's a manhunter base out here. Ooh, there's a mercenary tent out here. Very interesting. That is an interesting thing to fall back to. But yeah, like I was saying, there's a manhunter's base down here that I'm sure they're aware of, but these guys have not come face to face with manhunters yet. They don't know the irritating terror. The terror turned irritation that the manhunters can be. But I'm sure they are very well aware that manhunters... Ooh. We've discovered a slave farm south. Oh, nice. And we discovered that mercenary camp. All right. There's a slave farm. All right. We're going to go put eyes on that. That's giving me a whole lot of things to think about right now. But, like I was saying, these guys haven't come face to face with the manhunters, but I'm sure they know that the manhunters don't really discriminate in terms of who they take in. They're literally manhunters. They're in it for the money, I guess. I don't know. I suppose they're selling people into slavery. And so they would probably know not to tangle with those guys, and it's probably a really good idea that we get a sense of where they are. It could honestly be worse, but damn, it could be better, says Carthaginian. As I think I was just saying, discovering a slave farm gives me a whole lot to think about. I still maintain that this crew, especially with Hamut, is probably doing a non-stop, like, pep talk with Hamut, like, we cannot do something stupid. We have to keep our heads about us. We're going to help where we can, but we're not going to do anything dumb. Oh, I see windmills. I was going to bring us up here so we could see if we could put eyes on that slave farm, that slave market, but I think it's over there somewhere. We're going to go up high anyway, so we can get a look at this slave market. And like I was saying, we've got Hamut with us. Hamut is very staunchly anti-slaver. His wife was taken slave, very likely killed. We're certainly never going to find her. So I know that this team knows that is forever on his mind, and certainly something that's going to push their story as they grow. But I think they also know it would be a suicide mission to do something like try to take down a slaver market. But that doesn't mean we can't scout it out and get a sense of what we're dealing with. Let's get up here, let's make sure nothing's moving around. I don't see anything, nothing's coming after us. Alright, let's think about what these guys might do at this exact moment. We've got this ragtag group of nobodies. Temperance and Quill, left for dead at the edge of the world, puts together this group, and they end up finding some success in being pretend tech hunters. But we do have Hamut with us, and Hamut absolutely, that it is never going to leave the forefront of his mind, his hatred for slavers. His wife was taken from him. I don't know if he says that he knows she was killed, but we're never going to find her, so we can assume that she's dead. That is something that I am certain is going to shape their story as we move on. But as I've said, I'm sure they're in a non-stop pep talk, keeping him just making sure that he doesn't do anything stupid that gets them all killed, while still wanting to support him. But I do think, after just giving this a second of consideration, I do think if we crest a hill and we see a slaver market, I can't imagine that Hamut would not want to go look in there and just make sure that his wife is not there. And if anything, get a sense for how big the operation is, what could be done, could anything be done, are we in over our heads? Just a million thoughts probably swirling through his mind, with the one at the forefront probably being, I can't pass by a slaver market without making sure my wife isn't in there. So let's do this. Let's bring this team... Oh, you know what we can do? You know what we can do? Let's bring this team... Where is that mercenary group? Let's bring this team over to the mercenary group. All right, I'm certain, I know for a fact, that because we have not run afoul of the slave traders or the United Cities, that we could just wander into that slave market and nothing would happen. But I think in keeping with how these guys have been very timid in the world and very concerned about things turning bad for them because they started out very bad for them, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have the team hunker down with these mercenaries right here. We're just going to say hello to our friendly neighborhood mercenaries, and I think we're going to take Hamut and say, all right, Hamut, why don't you go just do some scouting? Just go scout out that slave trader camp. I almost want to send him with some backup, but I'm a little nervous about doing that, so we're going to get him off of staying close to Quill. And we can imagine they probably had a bit of a conversation. Like I said, Hamut would probably be absolutely insistent that he at least take a look in there. But I do think this team has learned to be, at this point, both not only wary of slave hunters, manhunters, and slave traders, but also kind of appalled by them. So I don't know that we're going to go in there and do any trading. Or he's just going to go scout things out. And what this is going to let us do is get a sense of just how bad this is, and maybe give us a kind of a narrative moment to really impress upon Hamut just how expansive slave traders' network and their power in the region. The strength of their being allied with the United Cities and the Traders Guild. Just how... hold on. Hamut, stop right there. Intruder alert. That's not us. I'm almost positive that's not us. We're just going to wait right here. It's not us because we're not even close enough. Something's happening over there. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mercenary Guild. I'm not going to spend the money. I was just thinking about... Just starting to think about maybe spending the money to take the mercenaries in there with me, but we're going to leave it. All right, the alarm was absolutely not for Hamut, of course. He's way too far away for it to have been anyway, but it is a little nerve-wracking seeing people yell when you're walking up to something that is at least narratively a little disturbing. Oh my goodness, the sad music as Hamut approaches the slave trader camp on his own. Off-limits leave here. This pit of a place makes my skin crawl. Let's just leave him here for a second. Who are you? They are 100% not talking to him. But Hamut does see slaves outside the walls. Alright, the rest of the team is in basically a safe place. So we're going to give Hamut a second to maybe wander the perimeter. We're going to have him go inside and get a lay of the land. Nice helmet. Your posture's a little odd, but I dig that helmet. Oh, a slave has been beaten unconscious. And it looks like we've got another one over here somewhere. Keep along. Let's see, what do we got over here? We're tucked around another slave. Beaten unconscious. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. What do we have here? A noble's house. We're going to leave that alone. There is a bar in here, though I do believe these slave traders' bars are not actually bars. The bars in these slave markets aren't really bars, as it were. Alright, there's 2 entrances. Slave Mistress Grace. Interesting. With some pretty decent stats. That is a very interesting thing for Hamut to see. I would imagine kidnapping or killing this person right here would lead to the fall of this place. In fact, it's not imagine. I know for sure that that would be the case. I have not toppled this particular slave. Oh, interesting. I have not toppled this particular slave market in the past, but I have toppled a slave market in the past. And I did it by capturing... Oh my god, don't come near me. Don't come near me. We gotta get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, alright. Yeah. We toppled the slave market by capturing the head of the slave market. The slave master or mistress. But it was in the northern United Cities. Alright, yeah, there indeed we see these bars are not real bars. There is no barkeep in here. There is no one to talk to in here. There's not much... What are you guys doing? What are you all doing here? Aimless. There's not much we could do in here without getting ourselves into some trouble. But this is good. This is good for Hamut to see. He can report this back to the team. What we are going to do is we're going to run the perimeter around this place. We're going to finish scoping the inside. We're going to finish scouting the inside, but then we're going to run the perimeter around this place and see if there's any low-hanging fruit, as it were. See if there are any straggling slaves outside that might need our assistance. Unlikely to be the case. Certainly unlikely to be the case outside of prying eyes, but... Alright, this is where we came in. We're going to go around the perimeter of this place. This is certainly depressing. What an awful thing for Hamut to find. Why are we sprinting? What is the problem? What's the worry, Hamut? Ooh. Rebel farmers. Are these rebel farmers attacking this slave hunter base? Let's have Hamut run around to the other door. And just whatever's happening here, we're gonna leave it to happen. These rebel farmers are attacking somebody. And I thought I saw someone running over here. Oh, there we go. Mercenaries? Traders Guild. Alright, well, Hamut has to go back that way to catch up with Quill and the team, so... We'll see. Ooh. Oh, how a shame. Oh, no, it's not a... I thought that was a person getting dropped. It is a rebel farmer bone dog. We might watch this unfold, and we'll butcher the bone dog if we can. When it's all done. No one escapes. We'll let them run inside, and we'll butcher this bone dog. We'll take the skin, sure. Looks like he was already trying to butcher him. Sorry, pal, beat you to it. Alright. We're going to finish this perimeter sweep. There were no slaves outside, which I guess is good, because I probably would not have noticed there was slave traders outside. We were going to see if we could find any stragglers and unlock their shackles, but... Alright, there's not much that Hamut can do here. I think he's gotten a sense of the lay of the land. I think we can imagine he certainly did not find his wife in here. I don't know that he holds out hope that he ever will. Get to shitty work. Hurry up. Jesus. We're gonna go reconvene with the rest of the team. We'll continue our scouting. But this is very interesting, though. He did put eyes on Slave Mistress Grace. And perhaps is starting to formulate a plan. Maybe these guys can start thinking about assassinations and kidnapping attempts, midnight raids on slave farms. That might be a nice medium-term goal for them. I have a mod that makes it illegal to sneak in towns, so we weren't even really able to get a sense of how close he would be to being able to knock her out or kidnap her. But I imagine he would not be very close at all, probably 0%. But that's a very interesting thing that can start to push their story. Maybe the things they're concerned about are the things they need to know to affect real change without exposing themselves to open battle. It'd be very interesting. I've never gone that route before. A very good reason to start practicing sneaking and assassinating and knocking out when the opportunity arises. Alright, let's put Hamut back to following Quill. We'll put him back to group run. And I think we are ready to continue our scouting. And we're going to continue with the plan. Even though we've gone and visited this slave farm, I think we're going to go around the outside of the ridge here. And we're just going to put eyes on everything. Let's head back out over by the river. The group reunited with Hamut. He reports on what he's seen. Lets them know that he's seen the person that is running the place, Slave Mistress Grace. Probably encourages the team to start considering things like kidnappings. But I think these guys probably need to be a little better settled before they start thinking about disturbing political leaders in regions. A lot for them to soak in, for sure. Poor Hamut. I feel so bad for him. There's quite literally nothing we can do for him. Avenging his wife is the only thing. That is going to be a long-term goal that I don't think we forget. That may end up being an overarching goal of this team, is to become true anti-slavers. You know, that's an interesting thought, too. There's a couple of spots we could go. Oh, I forget where the anti-slavers are. We could figure that out, though. Oh, that is a distance we would not make anytime soon. The anti-slavers are based somewhere around here. I forget exactly where. These guys would figure it out as they got closer. Certainly with buying maps or listening to rumors. But there's also a few things, like I have a mod that puts some people that are kind of staunchly anti-slave up in Dreg, as well as Simeon. He's also pretty anti-United Cities, but anti-United Cities because of the atrocities that were visited upon him. Might be interesting. It's very interesting to think about where their long-term plans will take them, but I'm just kind of wondering where they would push next. I was quite literally, as I'm opening this map, going like, oh, that'd be interesting. Maybe, like, try to find and visit actual anti-slavers, but I'm looking at the incredible expanse between them and where that is, and I know that we're not getting in there anytime soon. This is quite literally when you're not playing it like a game and you're just kind of experiencing it, really does change things. Thinking about it from their perspective, like Quill and Tempest are probably just barely holding these people together. You have someone like Hamut on your team who's like, we need to do this. It's important. We have to go take the fight to these anti-slavers. And then, like, Quill and Temperance having a full understanding that, like, there's an entire world between us and where you want to go. Not just metaphorically, like, us fighting people, but, like, quite literally. The amount of dangerous, dangerous land between us and our goals. We really need to think about what's right in front of us, which is where our next meal is going to come from. I'd like to, one of the things I should have done, I didn't think about this. I don't know that we necessarily had an opportunity to do it, but I want to get, one of the mods I have adds trapping. Whoops. These guys started sprinting. Something has set Quill off. I don't know what it is. We might stop him right here. But yeah, one of the mods I have adds trapping. And it adds a little bit better nutrition than digging for grubs, which means we could take longer journeys knowing that we could have some passive food generation. Just a little bit of passive food generation would really open up the range at which we could travel. All right. I don't see anything. I might stop us right here and just see what happens. We'll stop right here. Is anything coming at us? Does not seem as such. Quill might just be hearing the shouts from the slave market. So let's do this. Quill's just gonna yell for everybody to stick together. He's uncomfortable. Something's making him, putting him on edge. We're gonna get to the top of this little rise here and hope that we're not met by some gorilla. Alright, I think we're okay. We're alright. We're out in a bad spot right now. I'm a little, we're a little fast and loose because these guys really have been very lucky thus far. But we are running very slow because we have team members who have been hanging back while the rest of the team explored Shun. And these team members, Karthikeyan, Tetsuya, and Shimazu, are now carrying big heavy crossbows. So we're running very slowly. I'm just a little extra nervous now that I realize how fast and loose I'm playing here. I don't want to take this team into the slave trader market. Even though nothing's going to happen to us, I just feel like narratively they would avoid that. Like I said, they've been very timid up to this point. Quill and Temperance certainly know how terrible a hand life can deal you. So I think they want to avoid things like the possibility of ever being thrown into slavery. Even though mechanically it wouldn't happen, I think it makes sense narratively for these guys to avoid that. Hamut went in there with a low profile, just kind of keeping to himself, looking for his wife and gathering information. But this is very fascinating. Look at how pretty this is. Such a nice spot. I'm so thoroughly certain there's nothing down at the end of this peninsula, that I never would come here if not for scouting like this. Well, at least I'm not a slave yet, says Carthaginian again. Carthaginian is talkative and pessimistic. We've got rebel farmers out at the edge of the peninsula. We see them before they see us, and we're going to turn. Just stay away from them. There's a few too many of them for us to really want to tangle with them. It's a little later than I expected. I'd let the day get away from us. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at the map. We're going to zoom back in so we know where we are. I think we're here, and I really wanted to come back around to the way station. I don't think we're going to get to do that. We might go spend the night with the mercenaries at that camp. It's starting to get late. I don't want to get chased away from safety. I do not want to spend the night in the slave market at all. We're going to run around this hill, put eyes on this side of the coastline, and I think we're going to run over to that mercenary camp and spend the night there. We'll try to make it to the mercenary camp by like 18, 19, 6, 7 o'clock. We'll see if we can make it to the mercenaries by evening. Here's what we're going to do. We'll get to the top of this ridge here, which that might be this. Okay, a terrible thing has happened. Either we are out of range of being able to know that the mercenaries are there, or the mercenaries have moved along. I'm still going to go look at the top of this ridge, even though I'm working against my better judgment right now. We're going to get to the top of this ridgeline. We're just going to look. There's not going to be anything here, but we want to verify that because I'm not coming back out here again in the morning. More peasants to run down. Oh, God. Oh, no. Run. Turn and run. That has to be manhunters. We hear the yell of manhunters. They give themselves away. There's a drifter out here. Interesting. It's very busy out here right now. Is anybody chasing us? No. Someone in the grasses yelled, more peasants to run down, and that was enough. That was enough to scare the crap out of this group. We're going to go see if we can find those mercenaries. I don't know that we're going to be able to. They might have moved on. They might have moved on. Will's going to keep everybody together. This is good. They're getting some exercise. They're going to grow faster, which is good. They need to be faster anyhow. We are going to... This is what we're going to do. We're going to cut back to the river, because if it does start to get dark, we can stick with the river. If we have to go all the way back to the way station, so be it. So be it. This is what happens when you push your luck. Pissing dust in my eyeballs, says Shimazu. Alright, Shimazu. You know, you guys, your pockets are filled with cats. You've got brand new weapons in almost everybody's hands. Alright, I just want to put eyes on this river, and we're going to turn. Oh, there's so many people out here. Manhunters! Eek! Eek! Turn! We see manhunters. A small caravan of manhunters making their way, I believe, east. I believe. They're kind of going towards the river, which is going to mess with us. These guys are certainly learning. And it's going to be a little bit difficult for them. They're not powerful enough. They're not fearsome enough. They're not a force to be reckoned with. They're just pretend tech hunters. Alright, we have found the river. That is good. I cannot stress how much I do not want to see these guys fight manhunters, because not only will they not be fast enough to run away, we'll lose some people right now to manhunters. Alright. We found the river. We're taking the river back to the way station. We're going to reassess in the morning. I might even say we've seen enough of this for right now. Because before, if we're going to leave the hook, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll see. Maybe these guys settle down. Maybe they build up a little encampment somewhere. Or maybe they do some more adventuring. But no matter what we do, I imagine we might take one more run to Drifter's Last. So we can make sure we come through here when we do it. So maybe in the morning, keep things fresh for these guys. They already know there's slavers down here. We'll head out this way. We got to get there first. We got to get to the way station first. And the way station is indeed closer than Clownsteady, so our goal first is the way station, and hopefully we'll make it before absolute nightfall. We're just going to watch this side of the rise here. Getting a little nervous. We saw a bunch of manhunters. We've given them enough time to catch up, but they were walking and we're jogging. And hopefully soon, we all start getting a little faster. These guys are so slow. Whatever. This is good. It's exercise. It's experience. The only way for them to get faster is to get out there and start hustling. Shimazu, Karthikeyan, and Tetsuya have spent too much time hanging back. As the sun sets, and as the Garu, haha, you did not get me this time, Garu. Now watch, I turn this way and they're like right on top of me. Alright, nice. As the sun sets, we make it to the way station. We avoid getting jump scared by Garu. I'm going to count all that in the win column. The barkeep watered down my drink again. I'm paying good money for this swill. The barkeep welcomes us in. We'll get these guys set up for the night. And we are going to head out again in the morning. Alright, it's early in the morning. I was going to say we made it to the night without issue, but it looks like the way station was attacked by Band of Bones at some point in the night. What do we have over here? Other Band of Bones. We are going to strip these Band of Bones. I don't see a reason not to. So, before we head out, we will do that. We are going to take all their stuff. Anything worth a little bit of money, sell value 93. We could sell your armor, that's for sure. Quick stop back in the bar to sell off all that junk we picked up. And we now have 17,000 cats, which I am very happy to see. We are going to head... oh, Jesus. Fucking pack beasts are getting me. Now it's not just Garus. Pack beast jump scares. We are going to head straight to Clownsteady. And just see what they got there. Mostly interested in the travel gear store. See if they have maps. Every time I can stop and pick up a map, we are very likely going to do that because that really helps us in terms of planning our travels. I've been contemplating what we might do next. And I'd imagine these guys probably are interested in adventuring. Heading out of this area, perhaps. They've seen what they can see here. It also makes sense for them to probably settle in for a little bit, since they do know this area is somewhat safe. I'm not going to call it safe, but I think they do know that things get much more dangerous as you leave this area. And maybe, just maybe, they settle in for a little bit and do some hunting. Maybe even think about getting involved in things like trying to free slaves from slave markets and hatching plans to capture slave mistresses. But yeah, if we were to leave here, we would have to think about how we're going to do that. And we don't know enough. I don't think we know enough to make a plan to get somewhere in one day. We certainly know we could get to Shun, but we don't know what's beyond Shun. We may need to hang out here for a bit and be collecting maps and getting stronger. I don't know, it's something Quill and Temperance are going to have to think about. I think there's good arguments for these guys in both directions. Getting out and seeing the world because they feel like they are tech hunters, and there's more tech to be found, more adventure to be had. But growing a little stronger before they do that is certainly a good argument. And then in addition to that, growing stronger while they think about helping the people that are suffering from injustice in this area that they've seen thus far. Also probably sounds pretty enticing. We see the tall buildings of Clownsteady in the distance. It's still nice and early in the morning. We're going to make our way down there. We're going to check the travel gear store, and then we're heading right out. Right out, we're going to scout as much as we possibly can. It may take more than one episode to fully scout this, I don't know. This is pretty big. It actually took a surprisingly large amount of time, and we did backtrack a little, and we stopped in the slave market, but that took longer than I thought. I thought we'd make it that whole way back to the way station before afternoon. This is very interesting that this breaks to the south wetlands. immediately outside. Like the region does not break naturally with its own geography. It is a strange, harsh cut. I wonder what fresh horrors await us in the wetlands. I feel like we will probably end up wandering into some of that trying to scout this spot here. For sure. Yeah, because we'd have to follow... We'd have to follow some kind of geography to get to this side. Maybe we'll come out of here and run the... I don't know. I don't know. One thing at a time. We're going to go into Clown City. Not exactly sure how we're going to handle this. Alright, hopefully we don't get shaken down at the gates, so we do have money, so I'm not super worried about it, but losing 3 grand would really suck. We're going to head inside and hope for the best. Go on through. Nice, thank you. We're going to get on through as quickly as we can. And I do believe the travel gear store is over here. I think. It is a surprisingly quiet day in Clown City. There we go. There's the travel gear store. It's amazing. We've come here and people aren't getting beaten down. Oh, nice. We can go out that door. Maybe. We'll take a look at the map in a second. Show me what you got. You have maps? You have a couple maps. Nice. Map of the United States Central Territory. We do not know that, so we're going to get that for sure. A map of Vane. Yes, indeed. We will definitely get that. That is very interesting. A map of the swamps. We already know. A Tech Hunter library map. 100% we're getting that. And another Tech Hunter map. And let's take a look in here. One of the things I was keen on getting, I think I started to say this before, but I didn't finish my thought because we got interrupted. Probably getting scared by things that are outside, ready to kill us. But, nothing in here. I wanted to learn trapping. We may have to set up an outdoor workbench. I might need to research that to learn it. So that might be a book cost and not a blueprint cost. I feel like it does also have blueprints, though. All right. Well, I'm interested in learning trapping, like I said, because this way we can trap food kind of passively, which is great. All right. Let us take a look at these maps we got. Let's get our big map set up. And let's take a look. We have a map of Vane, the mysterious homeland of the Western Hive. Humans don't tend to venture there. Oh, and we've learned 8 locations, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this is what I think I started to mention before, is the idea of making a plan to get somewhere else. Thinking about this just a little bit as we're wandering around here. Like, it took us a day to kind of wander through here. Even if we left from here and I wanted to get to, say, Flats Lagoon. I don't think they've discovered Flats Lagoon yet, but we certainly know there's tech hunters here. I think everybody knows tech hunters are in here. If we wanted to get there, we know of Morn. And we know of, what is this, Katun? Katun. And probably a slave market right there. Oh, that's doable. But this is dangerous. And I think they know that. This is wild danger. This is like nests of beak things danger. Which is a frightening prospect. But this would be an interesting... like I said, I don't know that they're ready to do this yet. I'm certainly not ready to make a commitment for them, but this would certainly be one thing to do. Take would-be tech hunters out to tech hunter territory, and then maybe beyond into, I believe the anti-slavers are around here. We could find that out the hard way. That'd be a lot of fun. Discover it by stumbling into it. But that's really scary. That's really very scary. And on the other side of this, we know we can incrementally make our way through Shun. Not to this ancient tech lab, that's for dang sure. But we know we could get out to about here. And we'd have a very long distance to get out to maybe something like Last Stand. Trying to look at where we could follow the geography. It's very easy to follow coasts and water features. We could follow the geography maybe out to Last Stand. I believe that's friendly. I think that's Shek. That is so incredibly far ahead of them. Just something to think about. All right, what else we got? All right, we've got a Tech Hunter library map, a hand-drawn map marking a location of interest to the Tech Hunters. It's likely to be an old world information source that could reveal the location of labs. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness. It couldn't possibly be further away. Far, far, far into the north of the Leviathan coast. We've got another Tech Hunter library map. A map from a Tech Hunter scout detailing a possible location to find ancient science books. Take a look. Oh, very interesting. Let's get zoomed in over here. Fishman Island, the island lab. I wonder if that looks tantalizing to them. That's such a distance. That's a distance through. I mean, the shore of the bone fields is probably not that dangerous. I don't know that they know that. I know it's not going to be good. But this, I don't know if they know that this is a nightmare. I don't know if they know or not. Everything in Kenshi is a nightmare. They know that. They know that everything's a nightmare. All right, let's see what else we got. A map of the United Cities' central territories. I think that's their main territories. And there we go. All of the United Cities. 15 locations marked. Beautiful. If we ever make it out that way, we'll know where everything is. All right, nice. All right, that is fantastic. That is exactly why we come here. Let's get ourselves back outside. Actually, I'm going to take a look at the map one more time. I think we're at this entrance. Do we head out this side entrance and follow the river? I think we're going to do that. If I head out this side entrance, I'm going to get shaken down. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Whatever, we're going to do it. We're going out. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. We can follow the river. Don't shake me down. Going through. Nice. Good. Oh, nice. It is the river. Good. All right, cool. We're going to follow the river. Someone yells out, careful. United Cities. Jaglonger. We are already in the South Wetlands. Interesting. We must be like here. We're going to follow this river until the turn. Actually, until this kind of geological feature here. This little rise. I'm hoping we can see this as a hill. This looks a little smooth. Maybe we can get a look at this from the river. We might be able to see that in the distance. I just wanted something to aim at. Let's take a look at that a little bit better. Is there anything super tall out here? Not really. Not really. Whatever. We're going to try to follow this to the turn, and maybe we'll follow the straightness of the river right here if we can. I'm not trying to get lost, but we know we can make our way back to the river to get back into Clownsteady if we have to, so... We're already in the wetlands, and we don't want to be scouting the wetlands, so we are going to head up high, see if we can get a look at what's going on here. Let's see if we can make our way back into the hook. But this hopefully will give us a good sense of what's around this area. I would imagine we're going to be dealing with turtles for sure until we get out of the wetlands. But quite possibly with the wetlands being adjacent to the swamps, we might also see blood spiders, so we want to be careful. Alright, I'm going to head up this way. I don't necessarily know that I'm going in the right direction, and none of this looks like I expected it to. This might be the flat that I was looking for, which means this rise is just fine by me. It's not going to put us back into the hook yet, but I'm okay with that. We might be able to see some better landmark features once we get to the top of this little rise here. Alright, nice. There, we head back into the hook. We might be like here-ish somewhere. Tough to say. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I think this is maybe this. Maybe. Could be this. Could be that. We're going to head out far, 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 far. We're going out to the far distance. We've got a beautiful, clear view in front of us. We don't see anything for miles. The rain stops as we leave the wetlands. Ooh, very interesting. Huge piece of metal out here. A giant ruined structure. Alright, well, we still have fantastic sight lines. We can see what's out here, and as I say that, we see something out here. Red sabers. Red sabers, I believe, typically call the swamps home. We got some more people out here as well. We see someone in the distance. Tough to say. I was about to lament that we haven't gotten a chance to test ourselves yet, but I'm not trying to test myself on a giant group of people. Rebel farmers who are hungry. We kind of want to test ourselves on, like, a single bone dog. Or a wounded Garu. Let's get to the top of this hill, and we'll rethink some things. We'll think about what we're doing. It would be lovely to make our way to that other coast before, like, 2 p.m. We're kind of blocking ourselves out here. We're a little close to these rebel farmers. I don't want to force myself to fight them if I don't have to. We don't necessarily... Whoa, did I already make it to the other coast? Nice. Let's do this. Let's stay away from the rebel farmers. We're going to stay away from these rebel farmers. We're going to head down into this valley here. And maybe come up over to this rise over here. There's still rebel farmers pretty close behind us, but we should be fine. I think we've kind of got a good broken line of sight. They're going to keep getting closer to us as we move, but we are at a jog, and they are at a walk. And this does not look like I expected it to. So I'm not exactly certain of where we are. We're going to go up here, even though I don't love the idea. I'm cutting myself off with approaching rebel farmers, which I don't love the idea of, but I want to get a good sense of exactly where we are, and I really don't have it at this exact moment. I want to see more of this coastline from up high. Oh, it appears my map is having a little bit of a malfunction. I don't know if the map is following me or not, but it keeps recentering itself around a strange spot, which means, like, we could be here. Tough to say. Not certain. But it's making it even harder to get a sense of where I am. Oh, nice. We see the rebel farmers. They are indeed still making their way towards us, but it's good to know exactly where they are. And I'm going to use that opportunity to move further away from them. They're moving towards us, but at a very slow rate. We're going to come up over here. Oh, we discovered a manhunter base. We might be further south than I thought I was. I thought we were here. We might be... We might have been coming through this little depression here rather than this one. I thought we were going through this low area, but I think we might have been coming through here. If the manhunter base is what, on my left then? Let's see. Let's get to the top of this hill. And we're going to very carefully see if we can put eyes on this manhunter base. Where is this manhunter base? Oh, yep, it's on my left. All right. All right. That orients us, which is good. Jesus Christ, that thing is huge. We're going to go move towards it. We want to go get a look at it. I don't think we're going to in any way even scout that thing. I don't think it's worth it. There's going to be... I'm probably looking at manhunters right here. I can't click on them, but there's a group of people right there. There's going to be manhunters everywhere. Oh, Jesus freaking Christ. There's slave traders behind us running as fast as they can. Stop it. God damn it. See, this is what I'm talking about. If that was manhunters, we'd be in trouble. I think it stands to reason there'd be more manhunters around their own base than they would in other... likely to be in other places, so... We're going to take that as a good sign to not... Ooh, my camera's freaking out. We're going to take that as a good sign to not get too close. Manhunter base is on my left. I want to look down that... I want to look down this like, sandbar here. I really wanted to get a look at that. I didn't think the manhunter base was going to be right there. I thought it was over here. It's been so long since I've been here. So we're like... We're here... And I'm not going to be able to see that at all. I'll have to pass the manhunter base fully. It's the middle of the day. We kind of have the time to do it. But there are rebel farmers out here. That's interesting. I thought there would be manhunters, but there's rebel farmers making their way towards us. We're just going to unpause and make sure no one's following us. It's okay to make mistakes, learn from them, and move on, says Shimazu. You know what, Shimazu? That's the attitude I want to hear. I love it. Alright, there's rebel farmers moving towards us. We're gonna move up this way. Ah, shit. Will starts to sprint. Something has obviously got him a little nervous. Maybe, just maybe, Quill is thinking better of his decision to scout the manhunter base. I don't know why Quill started to sprint. I'm not in love with it. It's making me a little uncomfortable this close to the manhunter base. I'd rather run into animals than I would run into manhunters so close to their own base. There are slave traders nearby who could be attacking anything. They could be attacking rebel farmers, and that might cause us to sprint. But something got Quill up in arms. But that's okay. We wanted to get up high anyway. I'd imagine with things being as they are, us being in such close proximity to this manhunter base, Quill would probably say, hey guys, stick together. Keep your heads on a swivel. We're not in a safe place right now. And let's not forget that. Alright, we're going to stop right here. We just entered a swamp-like territory. Interesting. There's a mercenary guild walking around over here, which is also interesting. We've got the money if we wanted to hire them. I don't know that we need to. The Manhunter base is locked, but I bet it would become unlocked if we got close to it. And I'm super keen on putting eyes on that strip of land. For no real good reason. I just kind of want to. I'm going to see if we can get over here. And that'll be our scouting for the day. I feel like I'm pushing it right now. We're going to be very, very careful. I'm only doing this because this is so open. I'm just going to make sure I can't talk to any of these guys. I cannot. This is all very open, but I'm a little nervous about this. Like, this swampy ground is really good hiding places for blood spiders. And blood spiders do like to hang out in swampy regions. If I didn't have such a good sight line to see that there's nothing necessarily right here, I wouldn't do this. It doesn't mean that we can't run into something right here, but I feel somewhat confident about it. We are really playing with fire right here. Like cresting this hill and running into a team of manhunters who go, they look like slaves, would be a very bad thing to see happen. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. We're doing it. We're in somewhat close proximity to the Manhunter base, though I do believe the only time I've ever come down here, I was in, like, absolute hostility with the Manhunters, like -100 relations. But I believe you can actually go in there if you're not hostile towards them. We are not going to do that. We do not like people who take people slaves, so. These guys are playing timid. They're playing cautious. But we do want to get a look. I'd love to see if I could see this little sandbar that leads across the... I can! Look at that! Look at that! Can we get even higher? Can we get up here? Is that possible? Why don't we stop right there? Right there. What do we got here? Manhunters, United Cities. And there we can see that little land bridge. That is interesting. It's very late. I would love to get down there and look at it, but it'll be like 4 o'clock, 4:30 by the time we get down there, which means we would not make it back to safety in time. Alright, we are going to try to run this coastline, which is good, because this is literally what I wanted to do. I wanted to look at this. I did want to walk this, because this is technically the hook. I wanted to see everything that's over here, but I think we're like here. We're going to see if we can run back behind the Manhunter base, and we'll run the coast back to the way station if we can. I think that'll be the plan. This is good. We got very good sight lines here. We've got this coast. Let's take a look at this again. Yeah, I think this jutting landmass right here is probably this, maybe. We're gonna stick with the coast. We've got great sight lines. We're a little close to the Manhunter base, but I think we're okay. Nobody's shooting at us. I think they would leave us alone this close to their actual residential setup. Alright, this is perfect. We see the slave farm off to our left. That slave market we visited before. We've got the Manhunter base behind us, and we've got a good clear sight of what's in front of us as we see somebody over here, mercenaries. And we're going to keep following this coastline until we hit the way station. This is perfect. This coast will turn into the river. We've got mercenaries to our right. That feels a little safe. A little bit of maybe a false sense of security, but a little bit of security. And we'll follow this river till we get to the way station. You know what I'll tell you? I think I was mentioning one of the things that might be interesting to do is maybe head back over to Clownsteady and maybe like take this river all the way up into the wetlands. Take a look at what's over here. I talked about peeking into the crater, or maybe even peeking into the grid. I mean, oh god, this is a nightmare. This is scary. But maybe the adventurer in them? I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. For now, the thing that's right in front of them is making it to a safe place before dark. Oh, it's amazing to see what an incredible journey they've been on so far. With Temperance starting out with no legs, Quill having no arm, them both starving to death, left for certain death at the edge of the world. Now they got their small team with them. This cool gear. A life as would-be tech hunters. I love it. This is literally the best game. that you could possibly play, if you've got the patience for it. What will it be today, says Hamut. Hamut, your day is over. It was filled with scouting ne'er-do-wells, slave hunters and manhunters and slave traders, appalling miscreants trading off of human flesh. That's what your day was. Oh, nice. And there we see the way station. Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. That was a successful scouting trip. It didn't go 100% as planned. That's kind of to be expected with any scouting trip. You adapt as you go. But that was very interesting to see the Manhunter base at the edge of the hook like that. With that little sandbar, too. That is really fascinating. That is such an interesting shot to Catan. You could follow this. Like, unfortunately, we can't stay in any of these places. Like, this is not a safe place for us to hang out. We'd have to make that in one day. But this lines up really nicely with what I bet would be a very visible valley there that would lead into this depression where we would see definitely something in the middle of it. I don't know if we'd see Catan straight up there, but that would be, as long as it was nice and light out, it'd be easy enough to find. Stuff to consider as we think about when our next move finally means leaving the hook. I still don't know what that's going to be. We might do a little camping first. We might, because I'd like to do a little research. I mentioned a couple times already, I'd like to research trapping if I could. I feel like trapping was a blueprint, but if it's research, we'll research it, but we may have to luck upon a blueprint in a travel gear store. But that truly... Oh, shit! There's just a straight up, just a wolf chasing after us. Alright, that's interesting. Let's get closer to the way station, and we'll fight this wolf. Is it just a lone wolf? Alright, we're gonna make sure he sticks with us. That's awesome. What a good cap for their day. They wanted to test their mettle? God, that wolf is really gaining on us, huh? Alright, let's do this. We're gonna... No, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf. No. Let's do this. We're gonna take, who's too heavy? Who's gonna be a mess? Let's take a look at who's got the worst crossbows. They all do. They all have terrible. Alright, we're gonna take Carthaginian. We're gonna tell him to get inside the way station. And the rest of you stop right there. Carthaginian, you keep going. Quill, you step out over here. You attack this bone dog. If I can I get him? There he is. Okay, we're gonna attack that bone dog. Here comes the bone dog, and we're gonna do this. We're just gonna line these guys up, because you guys... The rest of this team has some crossbows that could quite literally drop some of our team members in one shot. So we're gonna just make sure that our team members are nice and spread out. I may have to do a little bit of microing on these guys for a bit. Tetsuya, don't you dare. Hamut, let's get you over here. And Tetsuya, let's put you right here. Right here, Tetsuya. And you can attack as well. Hamut's got to run into attack, so we're going to just give him a second. He's going to get dropped if he goes in there. Hamut, go ahead and attack. Come on. Let's set you up. Where do you want to be at, Hamut? Hamut! Oh, God, Hamut! Alright, let's put Quill over here. God damn it, Hamut. Hamut. Attack that target. Do it. Thank you. Any of you guys want to... Did anybody even hit this dog? Oh, nice. Someone did. I was too busy setting these guys up. Didn't notice if they hit the dog yet or not. Come on, hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Nice. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Quill, you can butcher the dog. Beautiful. We'll take his teeth, too. Nice. All right, good job, guys. Yeah, I was a little nervous about that. A couple of these guys have some really shitty crossbow skills, and absolutely have crossbows that are capable at this stage of dropping any one of these guys to death in one shot. These katanas should get us by for now. That indeed they will. That indeed they will. Nice. Carthaginian reunites. Thank you, Carthaginian, for being our dedicated medic should we need one. But luckily we did not need one. And there was no other wolves, right? We'll just stop for a second. We'll just make sure. No, it does not look like there were. That is totally fine. And like I said, we want to be fighting like one bone dog, one injured Garu, an injured Gorillo, 4 injured rebel farmers. All right, well, I think that's where we're going to leave it. These guys have had a successful day of scouting. They managed to put eyes on just about every part of the hook, and they even managed to cap off their day with a little bit of combat. When we come back, there might be a little more scouting in their future. I'm kind of curious. Being so close to Clownsteady, we might take a trip back over there and head up that river and take a peek into the wetlands. But we'll do that in the next episode, so subscribe for more Kenshi, and I'll see you next time.